scared them away with such a big agenda.
Yeah, that's right. I gotta sign them tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that's all right.
I gotta sign them tomorrow morning.
Melvin's gonna approve all of it.
Yeah.
Specifically you two.
Everybody here? All right. We got a lot to do tonight, so hang with us. We got 100 resolutions to go through, so we're gonna move through those as quickly as we can. If you all stand, I call the meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much for being here. Down through here, Mr. Zerlo, please conduct a roll call. Legislators Conroy, Hall, Legislators Conroy, Hall, and Potiker have been excused, and would you please conduct a roll?
Certainly. Mr. Castine.
Present.
Mr. Dane.
Here.
Mr. Henry.
Here.
Mr. Courier.
Here.
Mr. Rosenquist.
Here.
Mr. Timmons.
Here.
Ms. Waldron.
Here.
As previously noted, Mr. Conroy, Mr. Hall, and Mr. Potiker have asked to be excused.
Thank you. All legislators have received a copy of the stenographer's minutes for the January 22nd, 2020 regular session. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. May I have a motion?
Motion.
I have a motion. May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now for the most important part of the meeting. That's you, Lindsay. That's the reason we all showed up. Lindsay, come on right over here. At this time, I'd like to present the 2019 Off-Track Vetting Scholarship Award in the amount of $500 to Lindsay Garden. Lindsay is a 2019 graduate of Binghamtown High School and has completed her first semester at Plattsburgh State University College, majoring in nursing. Her long-term plans include applying to the University of Vermont Doctor of Nursing Practice Program to become a nurse practitioner. While in high school, Lindsay was a member of the National Honor Society. I just missed by that much, National Honor. It was like 2 points. Apparently had to do homework and stuff, and volunteered for numerous programs. Lindsay, congratulations on receiving the OTP Scholarship Award and on a successful school year at Plattsburgh State University and for the rest of your life. Thank you very much. Yes, absolutely. I'd be happy to do that.
It's for my grandma.
It's very important. Let me hold that right there.
Thank you.
Is that Sharon?
Yeah.
Hi. Thank you. Would you like to say several words? We got like 10 minutes. You can go.
Thank you so much. This really helps a lot. I really appreciate it.
Excellent.
Like 2 books, right?
Yeah. Thank you all. And as I said earlier, you don't have to stick around. You can escape if you'd like.
Thank you.
Some would suggest that's a good idea.
See ya.
Good luck with it. I will now recognize those in the audience who wish to share their thoughts and concerns with the legislature. Please raise your hand. If you wish to be recognized, state your name and address for the record. And in accordance with the word of order, the rules of order, all speakers will be limited to 5 minutes. Seeing none, we will move on. We'll now go to the committee reports. Each legislator chairs one of the 10 standing committees, and I will call the chairperson of each committee in alphabetical order by committee, starting with Buildings and Grounds. Mr. Perrier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Building and Grounds Committee met Monday, February 10th. James Cleveland, the Superintendent of Building and Grounds, discussed the resolution number 56 and number 57, as well as the Government Center brick study and the 2020 Master Plan. The next Building and Grounds Committee meeting is scheduled for Monday, March 9th at 4:30. End of report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Francis, our engineer and the roofing contractor did do its first walkthrough upstairs this morning. So I'm sure that the superintendent will be reporting to us.
Okay. I'll be expecting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Children and Family Services.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, on behalf of Legislator Potiker, Children and Family Services met Tuesday, February 4th. John Rednick, Commissioner of Department of Social Services, was present to discuss resolutions 58 through 61, as well as December 2019 statistics, the proposed state budget, and able-bodied adults with dependents. Mr. Redden also provided a comprehensive review of the potential costs that would accrue to the county and the governor's budget proposals as adopted. Obviously, I've been opining about this same situation every chance I get, but the increased Medicaid costs would actually hit Mr. Redden's budget, so I'm sure that's why he made sure the committee was apprised about it. The next Children and Family Services Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, March 3rd at 5:15 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. Economic Development County Ops, Legislator Rosenquist.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Economic Development and County Operations Committee met earlier this evening. Representatives from the IT Department and County Clerk, Weights and Measures, Board of Elections, Planning Department, and Legislative Offices were there to present and to discuss various items. Resolutions number 62 through 70 have been placed on tonight's agenda as a result of the committee's recommendation. The next Economic Development and County Operations Committee meeting is to be determined. Thank you. Report.
Finance, Legislator Timmons.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee met Wednesday, February 5th. Kimberly Davis, the county treasurer, reported on sales tax, occupancy tax, the in-rem foreclosure process, compassionate care, tribal casino revenue, and the Clinton County Land Bank. Resolutions 71 through 74 have been placed on the agenda as a result of the committee's recommendation. The next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, March 4th at 6:15 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. Health, Legislator Walton.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Health Committee met Tuesday, February 4th. John Canosa, the Director of Public Health, was present to discuss resolutions 75 through 79. Mr. Canosa discussed the grant quarterly report for fourth quarter 2019, the Director's report for November and December 2019, the Health Department report for November and December 2019, the Public Health Connection, the Quality Corner newsletter, the Multi-Agency Coordination Group summary for 2019, and the Community Health Assessment. Rochelle Gregory, the Director of Community Services, was present to discuss resolutions 80 through 86, and our next Health Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, March 3rd at 4:30 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. Human Services, Legislator Conroy.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, on behalf of Legislator Conroy, the Human Services Committee met Wednesday, February 5th. Steve Bowman, the Director of Veterans Service Agency, was present to discuss resolutions 87 and 88. Mr. Bowman also reviewed monthly statistics for December 2019 and January 2020, VA healthcare, the New York State budget, and various legislative efforts for veterans programs. The new Veterans Clinic will be opening at the former Seton Academy location on or about April 1st, 2020, and open house will be scheduled in May. Darlene Collins, Director of the Office for the Aging, discussed resolutions 89 through 92, and Wendy Bishop, the Nursing Home Administrator, reviewed resolutions 93 through 97. The next Human Services Committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, March 4th at 5:15 p.m.
Thank you very much. Personnel. The Personnel Committee met at 5:15 p.m. on February 3rd and reviewed 24 personnel items. There are 24 resolutions on tonight's agenda that reflect the committee's recommendations. A few of the most important ones, there's 4 items for the Sheriff's Department that were tabled until March As the sheriff could not be present for discussion, there was creation of a permanent part-time typist position at the public defender's office, and that's fully funded, as I know you all know, through the Indigent Legal Services Plan Enhancement Grant. There's a creation of 2 permanent full-time senior tax clerk typist, treasurer's office. Those positions will start March 23rd for training purposes before the current incumbents are retiring. This would create a 1-week overlap for one of the new hires and up to, not necessarily 6 weeks, but up to a 6-week overlap for the other new hire. And reappointment, I'm pleased to say, we have the reappointment of Personnel Director Kim Kinloon for her second 6-year term, expiring March 18th, 2026. Thank you, Kim. Congratulations.
You didn't vote on it yet.
I know. I'm hopeful though. That's it. I don't want anybody to think otherwise. And the next Personnel Committee meeting is scheduled for Monday, March 2nd, 2020. Thought that was an excellent one. Plattsburgh International Airport, Legislator Hall, Mr. Zoll.
Yes, sir. On behalf of Legislator Hall, the Plattsburgh International Airport Committee approved resolutions 122 and 123 at its meeting of January 22nd, 2020. Those are on this agenda. And the next Plattsburgh International Airport Committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, February 26th at 4 p.m. End of report.
Thank you, public.
I believe that 4 p.m. is the new time that the committee came up with, so reminder to committee members, 4 p.m. on the 26th.
Public Safety, Legislator Castle.
The Public Safety Committee met on Monday, February 10th at 6:15. Stop DWI Coordinator Russell Haig of the Sheriff's Department was present to discuss resolutions 124 through 126. Shannon Davis, Principal Account Clerk of Emergency Preparedness, was present to discuss resolution number 127. David Marcola, the Probation Director, was present to discuss resolutions 128 and 29. Jamie Martineau, the Public Defender, was present to discuss resolutions 130 through 132. Andrew Wiley, the District Attorney, and Jamie Rock, Administrative Assistant of the Child Advocacy Center, were present to discuss resolutions 133 through 140. The newly elected coroner, Chad Deans, was present to discuss funeral home pickup fees. The next Public Safety Committee meeting is scheduled for Monday, March 9th at 6:15 p.m. End of report.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I kindly request a new chairman of that committee. The committee went over 2 hours, so.
That's because you kept bringing up stuff.
Wow.
Transportation, Legislator Day.
The Transportation Committee met Monday, February 10th at 5:15 p.m. James Bosley, the planning technician, was present to discuss resolutions 142 through 144. Mr. Bosley also discussed MHAB and space for buses at the main bus stop at the Government Center. Representatives from several social service organizations were in attendance and expressed concern over the recent price increase enacted by the county for the use of CCPT and the negative impact the prices have on the vulnerable populations they serve that rely heavily on CCPT. It appears we have resolved the primary concerns by allowing the people serviced by the organization to exchange tokens purchased by those organizations and given to their clients to be exchanged for day passes on the bus. Carl Weiss, the highway superintendent, presented resolutions number 145 through 149, and the next Transportation Committee meeting is scheduled for Monday, March 9th at 5:15 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. Liaison reports. Board of Health, Mr. Payne.
No report.
No report.
And you probably would never have.
Chamber of Commerce, Legislator Rosenblatt.
Our meeting is this Friday.
Clinton Community College, Legislator Rosenblatt.
Meeting next week.
Community Service Board, Legislator Conrad.
No, so we'll just skip that.
Cooperative Extension, Legislator Timmons.
Yes, excuse me, we met last night. They had a group of people go down and trying to get an increase for state funding. Again this year, it'll be, I think, 21 years now since they've had an increase, and hopefully they got their message across. Another important date is March 7th from 2 to 5 is Food from the Farm. an event that you can go and try different foods at it, and I guess that they always had a really good turnout. This will be my first year being able to go to it, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, discipline review, we had no meetings, there were no meetings scheduled for discipline review. Do you have anything to add to that, Sheila?
No disciplinary or grievance.
Okay. Grievance, as Mr. Zerlo said, grievance did not meet, there was no need to. Inter-county legislative law.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there were 2 meetings, one in Herkimer County, and also one at the NISAC conference. Basically, Herkimer County, the NISAC was unable to attend due to the whole, they were just presented with the governor's budget, so they were busy trying to figure out the Medicaid issue too, but that's been a big topic thus far. And in NISAC, we were presented with a presentation on bats. And bats. I'm not sure why that was chosen. But if you need to know any more on how to rid your home of bats, you can let me know, I can help you out.
I'll give it to you later. Don't let them out, right?
Go for it.
No,
That's
don't let them out,
right.
thank you. LC and LG Regional Planning Board, legislative law.
That would be me again, and we didn't have any meeting, not until April. We'll have a one committee meeting, but we don't need to talk about that.
Soil and Water, Legislator Perrier, Legislator Timmons.
We don't meet until next Thursday.
Did they miss me?
We do.
I'm surprised you're even meeting if I'm not.
It's going downhill quick.
I thought so. Workforce Development Board, Legislator Rosenquist.
Yes, sir, our next meeting is March 13th.
Thank you. Staff reports.
I do not have anything for tonight.
Mr. Zerlo.
I'd like to take my every 2-week opportunity to update you. Today, in fact, was County Government Advocacy Day in Albany, specifically around the governor's Medicaid proposal and how angry we are with it. Obviously, we had a conflict today. I did get communication from Mr. Clario, the executive director, who said he met with both Betty and Billy, both of whom I've talked to on this issue. It seems as though everybody in Albany agrees with everything that local governments are saying, including the teachers union, including all sorts of groups, including the controller of the state of New York. I think the only 2 people who disagree are the governor and the governor's director of budget. So it continues to be a conversation that we are actively working on, but it's something that will affect us dearly, should it not be changed in some fashion.
Thank you, sir. Resolutions. Before voting on the resolutions, I want to note that the majority of the resolutions have been thoroughly discussed by the appropriate committees, and the legislature is taking action tonight based in large part on the recommendation of the committees. We have a lot of them to do, 100, so we're going to move right along if we can. Mr. Zerlo, will you please read the titles of the resolutions to be acted on?
Certainly. Resolution number 52, amending the rules of order for 2020.
Mr. Perrier, I'd like to move this 4-3. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Don't tell my wife.
Woo-hoo.
Resolution number 53, appointing deputy county auditor for the years 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023.
Mr. Timmons, I'd like to move this one 4-3.
Yes, sir.
Discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, as everybody knows, we appoint the deputy auditors at our organizational meeting. Due to a pending retirement, we held off. This auditor has now been hired in my office, and as such, giving her the title of deputy auditor.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed?
Resolution number 54, congratulating hometown hero Hunter Church on capturing the bronze medal at the World Championship Bobsled Tour event. Legislature.
Ms. Waldron, I'd like to move this one 4-3.
Yes, please.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I'm gonna send a picture of it now.
So we'll invite Mr. Church to an upcoming meeting. Resolution number 55, approving reappointment to the Clinton County Human Rights Commission. Legislature.
Okay, I'd like to move this 4-3. Thank you, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 56, authorizing the purchasing agent to solicit bids for 2019, 2020 court system tenant projects, buildings and grounds.
Motion, Mr. Perrier, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion.
Just a reminder that, we're obligated by statute to provide space for the court system. But should they want any tenant work done, they pay for it, but it flows through the county. So this is putting out to bid projects that they want, that they will be paying for.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 57, authorizing contract with Northern Tier Industries, buildings and grounds.
Motion, Mr. Perrier, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion.
Also a project requested by and being paid for the court system.
Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 58, amending Resolution 988 dated December 11th, 2019, titled Authorizing Contract with Various Daycare Providers for the Year 2020 Social Services.
Motion, Mr. Dane, second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Opposed?
You're opposed, sir?
No. No, for roll call. We don't need that. Never mind that. I'm not opposed, no.
Okay.
I just said.
Resolution passes. Resolution number 59, authorizing contract with Hartston Total Opening Social Services.
Motion, Ms. Waldron, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 60, authorizing contract with the Butcher Block Restaurant Social Services.
Motion, Ms. Waldron, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 61, authorizing out-of-state travel social services.
Motion, Ms. Waldron, second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 62, authorizing payment of membership dues, information technology.
Motion, Mr. Rosenquist, second, Mr. Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 63, authorizing fee conveyance notice, county clerk.
Motion, Mr. Rosenquist, second, Mr. Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 64, authorizing payment of membership dues, weights and measures.
Motion, Mr. Rosenquist, second, Mr. Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 65, authorizing payment of membership dues, Board of Elections.
Motion, Mr. Rosenquist, second, Ms. Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 66, authorizing memoranda of understanding with various polling sites, Board of Elections.
Motion, Mr. Rosenquist, second, Ms. Waldron. Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is the item that we discussed in committee regarding the MOU with the city school district to use Momont Elementary as a polling location. Unfortunately, this resolution here has a typo. Instead of Our Lady of Victory Church, that should be struck. It should read, as per committee, it should read Momont Elementary. But I'm going to make a motion to amend this resolution to remove that language altogether. So remove the language Momont Elementary from the resolution.
No, okay. We're removing Our Lady of Victory from the resolution.
Again, there's a typo in this resolution. Our Our Lady of Victory should read Beaumont Elementary. Okay?
So we're gonna amend this,
So
strike Our Lady of Victory.
Right,
put
that's,
Beaumont.
we need a second on the.
Yeah, we have an amendment, can I get a second? All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, back to the initial, to the resolution,
The amended resolution.
the amended resolution. Thank you very much.
We have a motion.
We have a motion, Mr. Rosenquist, we have a second from Ms. Waldron. All in favor of the amended resolution?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Resolution number 67, authorizing election services agreements with various school districts, Board of Elections.
Motion, Mr. Rosenquist, second, Mr. Perrier, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 68, authorizing the purchasing agent to solicit requests for qualifications for design and construction administration services under a local waterfront revitalization program grant, Planning Department.
Motion, Mr. Rosenquist, second, Mr. Castine, discussion. All in favor? Opposed?
Resolution number 69, authorizing contract amendment with Constellation New Energy Incorporated, Legislature.
Motion, Mr. Rosenquist, second, Mr. Perrier, discussion.
So just for the record, that the amount of .04108 is the correct amount, correct, Rodney?
Yeah, because when I sent out the memo last week, it was based on the price at that time. It changes daily, so this is the price that was given me today. Fortunately, it went up a slight amount.
Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 70, authorizing the county treasurer to increase appropriation and corresponding revenue for the 2019-2020 snowmobile trail plan, Legislature.
Motion, Mr. Rosenquist, second, Ms. Waldron, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 71, authorizing the purchasing agent to solicit sealed bids for the sale of 2 properties to be sold as a single property, Treasurer's Office.
I don't have that.
Resolution 71?
Do you? I got 72. Who's, so Diane's just got that?
Yeah, so Mr. Rosen.
Yes, Ms. Rosen. Yep. Oh, excuse me. Motion, Mr. Rosenquist, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 72, authorizing contract with Barton and Lejudas, DPC, relative to the Clinton County Corrective Measures Remedial Treatment System for 2020 permit monitoring and reporting services, solid waste.
Motion, Mr. Timmons, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion.
Just want to remind everybody that that remediation project and the associated monitoring costs come from the landfill reserve and not from the county's tax levy.
Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron? Resolution 73, approving Strategic Planning Commission's recommendation to expend occupancy tax revenue, Legislature.
Motion, Mr. Timmons, second, Mr. Henry. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 74, authorizing correction of correction of taxes for various towns, Time Warner Cable Treasurer's Office.
Motion, Mr. Timmons, second, Ms. Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 75, authorizing children and youth with special health care needs program grant application, Health Department.
Motion, Ms. Waldron, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 76, authorizing contract amendment with Essex County Public Health, Health Department.
Motion, Ms. Waldron, second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 77, authorizing contract with Child Care Coordinating Council of the North Country, Health Department.
Motion, Ms. Waldron, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 78, authorizing contract with Southern Adirondack Child Care Network, Health Department.
Motion, Ms. Waldron, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Excuse me, Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 79, authorizing multi-year contract with SimQuest Group Health Department.
Motion, Ms. Waldron, second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 80, authorizing Adirondack Health Institute grant extension, mental health and addiction.
Motion, Ms. Waldron, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 81, authorizing contract amendment with Behavioral Health Services North, mental health and addiction.
Motion, Ms. Waldron, second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 82, authorizing contract amendment with Behavioral Health Services North, mental health and addiction.
Motion, Ms. Waldron, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 83, authorizing memorandum of understanding with Cornell Cooperative Extension, Clinton County, mental health and addiction.
Motion, Ms. Waldron, second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 84, authorizing contract with NAMI Champlain Valley, mental health and addiction.
Motion, Ms. Waldron, second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 85, approving appointment to the Clinton County Behavioral Health Subcommittee, mental health and addiction.
Motion, Ms. Waldron, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 86, approving appointment to the Clinton County Community Services Board, mental health and addiction.
I'd like to make this 4-3, if I may. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 87, amending the Clinton County Veterans Advisory Council bylaws, veteran services.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Perrier. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 88, authorizing payment of membership dues, veterans services.
Motion, Mr. Dane, second, Mr. Castine. Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 89, authorizing payment of membership dues, Office for the Aging.
Motion, Mr. Dane, second, Mr. Castine. Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 90, authorizing various contracts, Office for the Aging.
Motion, Mr. Perrier, second, Mr. Castine. Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 91, authorizing contract with North Country Home Services, Office for the Aging.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 92, approving appointment to the Office for the Aging Advisory Committee, Office for the Aging.
I'd ask for this to be 4-3 as well. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 93, authorizing contract amendment with Kinsley Group, Nursing Home.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Perrier. Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 94, authorizing contract amendment with SOS Physical Therapy Nursing Home.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion?
Just want to let the committee know that I did follow up with the administrator and the contractor that she's to reach out to and have a conversation with is on vacation, so we're still tracking that. And this resolution does not lock us in to the entire year.
Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 95, authorizing contract with Janet Curran, Nursing Home.
Motion, Mr. Dane, second, Mr. Castine. Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 96, authorizing payment of membership dues at nursing home.
Motion, Mr. Castine. Second, Mr. Dane. Discussion? Roll call.
Spurrier,
Yes.
Ms. Walter.
Yes.
Resolution number 97, authorizing a multi-year contract with Retirement Home TV Corporation, nursing home.
Motion, Mr. Dane. Second, Mr. Castine. Discussion? Roll call.
Spurrier,
Yes.
Ms. Walter.
Yes.
Resolution number 98, approving backfill of permanent part-time station attendant, solid waste.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Castine. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 99, approving backfill of permanent part-time station attendant position, solid waste.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Resolution number 100, approving backfill of permanent part-time custodial worker, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Castine. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution 101, approving backfill of permanent part-time custodial worker, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Resolution number 102, approving backfill of permanent full-time motor equipment operator 1, Highway Department.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Castine. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Resolution number 103, approving backfill of permanent full-time motor equipment operator 1, Highway.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Resolution number 104, approving backfill of permanent part-time emergency communication dispatcher, emergency services.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Castine. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
I think your group's getting tired, Chairman.
They are. Let's speak up. Gotta be more enthusiastic.
Resolution 105, approving backfill of permanent full-time assistant district attorney position, district attorney's office.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Resolution number 106, approving backfill of permanent part-time typist position, district attorney.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Resolution 107, approving creation of permanent part-time typist position, public defender.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Castine. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Resolution 108, approving change in funding for a permanent full-time senior account clerk typist and typist positions, Health Department.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion? Roll call.
Spurrier,
Yes.
Ms. Walter.
Yes.
Resolution 109, approving backfill of permanent part-time activity aide position, nursing home.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution 110, approving backfill of permanent part-time cook position, nursing home.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Castine. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution 111, approving backfill of permanent full-time senior account clerk typist, nursing home.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Resolution 112, approving reclassification of permanent full-time principal clerk position to a principal clerk typist position, nursing home.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Resolution 113, approving backfill of a permanent full-time clerk position, social services.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Castine. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution 114, approving temporary backfill of a permanent full-time clerk position in social services.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Resolution 115, approving backfill of permanent full-time family support worker position, social services.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 116, approving backfill a permanent full-time caseworker position, social services.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Castine. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution 117, approving backfill a permanent full-time registered professional nurse, Sheriff's Department.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 118, approving the creation of a permanent full-time senior tax clerk typist position, Treasurer's Office.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Castine. Discussion.
Just to reiterate what you said in your report, Mr. Chairman, both this resolution and the following resolution do not result in any increased FTE once that overlap is complete.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 119, approving the creation of a permanent full-time senior tax clerk typist position, Treasurer's Office.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution 120, approving the reappointment of Kim Emblem to the position of Personnel Director, Personnel Department.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Castine.
I'd like to second that motion as well, sir.
I'm sorry?
Add me as a second to that motion.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I can just want to go on record once again saying that Kim is an extremely valuable member of our management team. She is a confidant of mine, and she truly does an outstanding job for you folks, for the towns and villages and school districts that her department is responsible for administering, and we're quite fortunate that she's part of our team. So Kim, thank you, congratulations.
She hasn't been voted on yet.
That's
It's under
all
discussion.
done.
Can I add a second to that too?
Yes, sir.
Let's all add a second, so that we all agree, right?
Then I would ask to have this 4-3.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a motion, we have a second, obviously. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Resolution number 121, authorizing payment of membership dues, Personnel Department.
Motion, Mr. Henry. Second, Mr. Rosenquist. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution number 122, authorizing non-aviation lease agreement extension with Exelon Power Labs, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, Mr. Perrier. Second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution number 123, authorizing lease agreement with Beta Technologies, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, Mr. Timmons. Second, Ms. Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution number 124, approving the reappointment to the Stop DWI Advisory Board, Stop DWI.
Motion, Ms. Waldron. Second, Mr. Perrier. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 125, authorizing payment of membership dues, Sheriff's Department.
Motion, Mr. Castine. Second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. Roll call.
Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 126, authorizing various contracts, Sheriff's Department.
Motion, Mr. Castine. Second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 127, authorizing contract with Cologne Security Systems, Emergency Services.
Motion, Mr. Castine. Second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 128, authorizing memorandum of understanding with the Clinton County Mental Health and Addiction Services, probation.
Motion, Mr. Castine. Second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 129, authorizing payment of membership dues, probation.
Motion, Mr. Castine. Second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Bless you.
Sorry, thank you.
Resolution number 130, authorizing payment of membership dues, Public Defender's Office.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution number 131, authorizing contract with Shakir Shred, Public Defender's Office.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution number 132, authorizing contract with Spotless Janitorial, Public Defender's Office.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 133, authorizing the creation of a traffic diversion program in contract with Diversion Management, District Attorney's Office.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 134, authorizing payment of various membership dues, District Attorney's Office.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 135, authorizing payment of membership dues, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 136, authorizing out-of-state travel, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed?
Resolution 137, authorizing out-of-state travel, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed?
Resolution 138, authorizing out-of-state travel, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolution number 139, authorizing various contracts, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution 140, authorizing Adirondack Foundation grant application, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 141, authorizing contract with New York State Defenders Association assigned counsel.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 142, authorizing contracts with First Transit Incorporated, Transit Management of Clinton County Incorporated, Clinton County Public Transit.
Motion, Mr. Dane, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 143, authorizing multi-year contract with Champlain Valley Advertising Agency, Clinton County Public Transit.
Motion, Mr. Dane, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Chairman, I just, Mr. Brown, or Mr. Dane, the Champlain Valley Advertising is the current
Yes.
correct provider? Okay. So it did not change.
Roll call. Concern?
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 144, authorizing section 5311, consolidated transportation grant application for 2019 and 2020, Clinton County Public Transit.
Motion, Mr. Dane, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 145, authorizing supplemental agreement number 1 with Stantec Consulting Services for the replacement of the Harney Bridge Road Bridge over the Saranac River. Bridge identification number 3335770, Highway Department.
I thought this says satanic. Motion, Mr. Dane, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 146, authorizing supplemental agreement number 1 with Stantec Consulting Services to remove bridge identification number 3335790, carrying Hent Falls Road over the Saranac River, Highway Department.
Motion, Mr. Dane, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 147, authorizing supplemental agreement number 1 with Stantec Consulting Services for the replacement of the Tappan Road Bridge over the Great Shazy River, bridge identification number 3336260, Highway Department.
Motion, Mr. Dane, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 148, authorizing payment of membership dues, Highway Department.
Motion, Mr. Dane, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 149, amending resolution 1073, dated December 23rd, 2019, titled Authorizing a Lease Purchase Agreement for a Purchase of a 2020 Case 721G Z-Bar Wheel Loader, Highway Department.
Motion, Mr. Dane, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 150, authorizing the county treasurer to increase appropriation and corresponding revenue for insurance reimbursement for the Clinton County Public Transportation Program.
Motion, Mr. Dane, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 151, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Child Advocacy Center Grant, District Attorney's Office.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Dane. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Resolution 152, authorizing the county treasurer to increase appropriation and corresponding revenue for insurance reimbursement, Sheriff's Department.
Motion, Mr. Castine, second, Mr. Timmons. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Walter?
Yes.
Does anyone have anything further to come before the legislature?
Motion to
I
adjourn.
will. Somebody say something?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
We are adjourned. Excellent job, y'all.
Good job, Kevin. That's done.